If FC Porto are to have any chance of winning this tie, they have to win this game. And for Juventus, they should look to try and win this game. But I think all they need is to keep it at a 1-goal deficit and get an away goal. Something they didn't do against Lyon. If they can get an away goal, keep it in a 1-goal deficit, it puts them in a great position to go through. Let's look at this in tactical detail.
Double H. Double H. Double H. Double H. Double H. Double H.
So guys, obviously I know that I didn't have the classic intro and everything, but people seem to forget I'm one man. I'm one man. I do the filming, I do the editing, I do everything myself. I don't have a crew, I don't have a team, so I can only do the best I can for one man who has to do several hundreds pieces of things. But I also try and give you guys the best possible analysis. I thought if I'm going to give you the classic thing with the background and so forth, we're going to go a bit raw, old school, and give you that tactical smack. So let's first look at the FC Porto setup. So I've taken this obviously from the proposed lineup. So of course we've got some matches in here, and I think it was because I was looking at the highlights, and it was in the Man City game in Portugal where Manchester was man of the match. He made some incredible saves, and if not for him, FC Porto lose that game. Although I think they had a penalty that was denied, I think, in the first half. So classic 4-4-2, Pepe, huge. This guy is still playing, and he may even still play in the Euros. I think this is the Senegalese Sarr that played at the World Cup. So, pretty compact team here. I think it's Conceição who is the manager, who I remember when he used to play. It just shows you how old I am, where these managers, I now remember them during their playing days. So go down midfield. I believe this is the highest scorer in Oliveira. You've obviously got Uribe in there as well, Diaz, Corona. Nice and flat, and then, which is what I like, two strikers, Marega and Taremi. Don't know too much about Taremi, but do remember Marega. He was the guy obviously that's suffered that racial abuse, but also I think he was the guy that really, I can't remember the title was in where I think he really G'd up. So he, I think, is a standout striker, and I think he is going to be the guy that they'll be looking for to try and get them that win. So for FC Porto, I think what will be key for them is not to concede. When you're playing at home, the key thing is don't concede. And I think what they definitely want is for these four to form a huge, great buffer and make it very difficult for Juventus, and especially for an Uribe and an Oliveira to come in and help these dudes double team when need be. And you definitely know that for a Cristiano who plays around this position here, for Corona and Manafa, it's going to be very important that they make it as difficult for Cristiano as possible and don't allow him to turn or really get into his bag. Because for Cristiano, the danger is he can get you with the right foot, he can hit you with the left foot. And even as well, stopping crosses coming into the box. And a key area for Porto is here, because this is where Cuadrado comes from. Cuadrado will be coming in from here and we're looking to either get crosses from deep or get down the line. He is a skillful player. He can beat a man. So I think Sarr will play a very important role in restricting the crosses from Cuadrado or making the crosses as difficult as possible. Because if a good cross comes into the box in this area, it's going to be very hard for both Pepe and Leto to stop the jumping strength of a Cristiano. And I think for them as well, it's a good solid Juve the defense, but especially because I watched the Napoli game, they've got to be brave. They've got to take the game to Juventus, and I think they have to control the midfield. It isn't the greatest Juve midfield, one of their weaker midfields, so you've got to look at Uribe, Oliveira, and so forth to keep the ball, pass the ball, and completely continuous put pressure under Juve. So that's pressing high, winning the ball high up, and having constant pressure on Juventus and ensuring they're not in any kind of rhythm. So that is for Juve there, man. So now let's now look at what's the name of these boys now? Sorry, this is now Juventus. Oh, this thing always messes up, man. There we go. So for Juve now, this is Juve. So this is obviously the lineup that they went with. This was the lineup against Napoli, and I think it's the one that I think they're going to stick with. You may see Arthur in, but I strongly doubt it. Although I'm not really sold on Bernardeschi. So Szczesniow's in goal, Danilo, Chiellini, De Ligt, Quadrado. I think he's going to definitely opt. I think Pirlo will opt for Chiellini over Bonucci. Then obviously you have the four of Chiesa, Rabiot, Bentancur, Bernardeschi. But I do feel it'll be more of like this kind of diamond. I think Bentancur is more of the defensive side of the midfield, and I think Rabiot is much more of the controller and the guy that brings the ball up a lot more. And Chiesa, Bernardeschi, these are of course the flank men. Again, as I said, I'm not sold on Bernardeschi. He had like one good season, then afterwards he's gone down. Chiesa, there's a good player there. I remember when his father played, it was him and Crespo back in the Parma days in the late 90s, man. He's a good player there, but I think you want him to affect the game a bit more, because he has scored some goals for Juve and so forth. But in a game like this, he has to come big. And, Cristiano is Mr. Champions League and Morata. I think, when I was watching Napoli, the issue I had was the lack of creativity. And there wasn't really a playmaker who was there to try and supply intelligence passes to Cristiano or Morata. And really, most of the creativity comes from Quadrado, who runs this channel very well, up and down, decent defensively, but he is very, very good on the ball. And you know that he wants to get to the byline or come here, and you know that he can put in a good quality cross to Cristiano, who will be hanging in the back post. But I think for Juventus specifically, this is an away game, and the away goal is vital. It is vital, and I think a big part of why Juve messed up in that leg against Lyon is they didn't get the away goal. That was key. I think once Lyon had that 1-0, they knew, they went through, but they knew, we have a very good chance of coming through and really saying what's up. So, so what I want to say is for Rabiot. Rabiot should be the dictator. He should be the playmaker. And I think he should be the guy that is really launching and making clever passes. But I just think that he seems very dormant. And he seems just to be going through the paces. And I don't think he really affects the game, in which I think a player of his talents should really be doing. So I think for Pirlo, he's definitely going to look for either a Rabiot or a Bernardeschi to try and be creative, rather than that relying upon a Quadrado. And I think the defense is a good, tough defense. I mean, Napoli didn't have too many chances; they just had the penalty. So Pirlo, his aim is keep it firm, try not to concede. I think Juve will be going here thinking that let's try and keep a clean sheet here. 0-0 would be cool, but let's try and keep a clean sheet. But let's definitely try and score. For Juventus, it is very important and vital they score, because they don't want a situation where they lose 1-0 or 2-0. And then I have to go back to Italy with the pressure of if Porto now score, it makes things very, very complicated. So I just think that, with Juventus and so forth, it's the supporting cast. For Morata, he's going to show up as well. What can he do with the ball? How can he get in good pockets of space? For Rabiot, when he now breaks, can he beat a man? Can he drive further into the box? Can he play a good intelligence pass for Cristiano? Can he take a guy out of the game, put the defense on the back foot, and give a through ball to Cristiano? Because I think what you don't want is just giving Cristiano the ball to feet and him not having to now make something with the ball to his feet. What they want is put him in good positions. Why he was so effective for Real Madrid is Modric would supply for him. Carvajal would supply for him. Benzema would give him a platform. So there were many different creators who were there to create for him. You create for Cristiano, more times than not, that ball is entering that freaking net. If you've got a goal machine in your team, you have to use him. So, and especially for Chiesa as well, let's him cut in on the inside. Let's him carry the ball. Let's just see more imagination with him with the ball, beat a man, take a shot, drive into the box, take 2-3 men out of there, play a good now cut back pass to Cristiano. There needs to be more productivity from Chiesa, from Rabiot, from Morata, from Bernardeschi. Looking at that Napoli game, it was very static. It was too safe, and I didn't see enough of a personality. That's the thing, a personality. I think the personality comes from Rabiot, so I'm surprised that you've got a manager like Pirlo, in my opinion, one of the best midfielders of all time. And I'm surprised that he's not been able to have more of an influence in the game of either Rabiot or Bentancur, which is desperately what these guys need. So, but for Juventus, they have the players here to, I think, win this game in Portugal. But I think the key thing that for them is, even if they can't win the game, get the away goal. But I think there's enough here to keep a clean sheet or concede, or try and get a 1-1, or even like a 2-1. I think a 2-1 would be a nice, great result. But there's enough here. But the supporting cast has to say what's up. And I want a Rabiot to be on the ball. And since they're the away team and most likely they'll be countering, Rabiot has to be on the ball and he's going to carry the ball and make those key passes. That's the key word. Key passes, not safe square passes, obvious passes, key passes, interesting passes that puts FC Porto in the back foot and force Pepe and so forth to now ask questions of themselves, man. So thinking about this, I'm trying to think about, a result here. I think Juve win. I think Juve win. Yes, I think Juve win. I'm going to say... I'm going to say 2-0. I'm going to say 2-0 to Juventus. I think they will keep. I think they'll keep a clean sheet. Because once I said 2-0 to 1-1, but I mean, I say this, but I really wasn't impressed with Juventus against Napoli. They really were not very impressive, and I think that and they played out at home. They played at the Juventus Stadium, and this is a much weaker Juventus side than we've seen in many years, man. And I think for FC Porto, they will feel confident in Portugal that, look, man, we can do something. And they know that the pressure is on them in Portugal to try and say something in Portugal to give them something in Italy. So I'm going to go with 2-0. I still stick with 2-0 to Juve. I think Juve will be up for this. They'll be fully focused. And I think that their quality, I think, will be too much for FC Porto. And I think that, and you may see a Cristiano brace. I wouldn't be surprised. I maybe one a penalty, another one like a header from like a set piece. So I say Juve 2, FC Porto 0. But whatever the case may be, join me on Twitch. I'll be watching the game on Twitch. Join me for my reactions to the game and so forth. And let's get this beautiful thing on. Peace out. Stay true. I'll see you on there. Peace. Become a Patreon member. Get access to my blog, get access to exclusive videos, and also get access to the podcast, to the Saturday and the Sunday hangouts. Head over to patreon.com/halfup to gain all these goodies while also supporting your boy HH.